Hello everybody, my name is Ryan Phillip. As you may or may not know, I already uploaded a couple of videos about the weathers in the metagame, and today I'm going to talk to you a bit more about hail. Why hail? Because hail is the second one I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about it as thoroughly as possible. I even went in a Skype contact with Mambo, really quick contact because there wasn't too much to talk about, but I tried to cover as much as possible in that regard. So the first thing I want to note to the fact that Hail really suffers from having no abilities. That's the first thing I want to note, because it doesn't have Sand Rush, it doesn't have Swift Swim, it doesn't have something like Sand Force, it doesn't have any of that. The only thing it has is the accuracy boost with Blizzard and the side damage from Hail up to any Pokemon. So it doesn't, so it is able to break Pokemon like Sturdy users, Rock types, Sturdy users, Steel types, and all those kind of things, as well as hit past any kind of regular Pokemon, hinder the recovery of Pokemon like Ponyta, Pumpkaboo, those kind of things, as well as hit past Sash Pokemon. All these kind of things allow it to more offensively beat things in a counter perspective. For example, you cannot put in a good counter against this as easily, because there isn't really too much of a quick made counter. You're mostly gonna view this team as being offensively pressured out or having very specific answers. For example, Carvanha plus Snover, the most common effective core. As you can see, just Fletchling blows through this straight up. It straight up blows through this, and this is the biggest issue that you will see. You want to have something that at least deals with this effectively. For example, Argon, Poniard, a bit of an odd check would be Gotita, but I wouldn't recommend it, mostly because you already receive side damage yourself from hail. So yeah, basically what you want to abuse as much as possible is the offensive users. There isn't much to talk about, mostly because the only two viable ice types in LC tier are Amora and, to a stretch, Snover. Though Snover is the ideal Pokemon on a hail team, don't get me wrong, because this one wants to run Refrigerator. Carvanha synergizes really well with Hail. Chinju, I personally think that synergizes really well, mostly because it has the ability to pivot. It has synergy in terms of the ice electric coverage, which sounds odd, however it's really versatile. It has the ability to hit past fire type Pokemon as well as Poniard, as well as other kind of stuff. It has the ability to threaten out a lot of physical attacking walls, thanks to Scald and all those kind of things. It has a lot of utility to overall cover, as well as being able to take at least Fletchling's hit somewhat is a really big thing, because Mora is the only other user that we currently have that can do the same, and as even with the Scarf sets, it can also run the more defensive Berry Juice set, which is going to take you the hits even better because of Berry Juice, and so on and so forth. So basically speaking, what you want to view is you want to have a good answer against Fletchling, and you want to have something to completely keep that offensive pressure going. So potentially even going for a Memento, for example, with Cottonee, which is another Pokemon that synergizes fairly well because it allows you for a fight resist, which is also a great thing, as you saw. This can go for Memento, can force out setup Pokemon thanks to Encore, as it beats Pokemon like Omanite in a check format. It can Giga Drain them right after, it can obliterate so many parts of that, and that is just a great thing to keep in mind as well. So what are the absolute things that you need on those kind of teams? First of all, you want to have your Hail core, which is mostly going to be Carvanha plus Snover, though the Carvanha plus Amora core also works. I also like viewing in the fact that Pokemon like Chinchu can be put in here as well. For example, Chinchu allows you for a great answer against Flying, mostly Fletchling for the Snover, and Carvanha core, as well as synergizing fairly well overall because it allows you for a good resist against these Pokemon. Here I use a more defensive set because this is a much more balanced perspective, because Pokemon like Drillbur are mostly just an answer against Magnemite, but you don't need these kind of Pokemon, so I actually want to delete that part, because this is just a very quick made example. I just want to smash certain things together to make my point a bit better, because Tinchu also allows for a decent check against Magnemite, which, as I just said, is a bit of an issue. So the primary Pokemon against this metagame will be Fire types, mostly Ponyta and Larvesta, and Steel types, Poniard, Ferroseed, and Magnemite. maybe even honest to an extent. So what you really want to limit in this regard would be fire types, as your weather condition already makes them less durable, thanks to not being able to recover as much, only 25% rather than 50%, which is a big thing in the also minigame. Pokemon like Magnemite are already hindered by the side damage, which is also a big thing, allowing them to not come in and just counter it straight up. For example, Carvanha now can actually 2-hit KO this thing straight up. So it's not a counter, it's best a check, because it doesn't want to take any kind of side damage at all. And it allows you to work without Stealth Rock, so putting on a Stealth Rock user like this set, don't do that, don't do that. It's as easy as that. So besides that, what else do you really want to look into? You don't want to make an ice team. You don't want to make an ice team. The only viable ice types are Snover to an extent, and Amora is straight up viable, but that's with the refrigerator set rather than the snow warning set. All the other parts you don't want to have just a Stealth Rock lead, because that's pointless, simply pointless in this because that's one of your biggest positives of the weather condition. You don't want to make balanced regard thanks to certain Pokemon like Ponyta that synergize well, you would say. No, you don't want that. Why? Because they are hindered by your own weather condition and stuff like that. You don't want to exploit that at all. You really want to keep it offensive. You want to have the ability to plow through certain parts of the teams and then go into your Pokemon like Gotita to clean it up right after, or something like this. You also want to keep this offensive pressure constantly going, so you potentially even need a Pokemon like Cottonee to fill up your weakness for getting up an opportunity and being able to constantly work your way through offensively forcing you in the opponent's team. This is really easy to revenge kill, as it's a really good wall breaker, and wall breakers tend to lose against revenge killers. But as long as you can balance that out, then the team should be able to work. There is plenty enough to work with, even though this is a very small list and this is already duplicate right here. It is still enough to work your way through. Pokemon like fairy types are still a bit of an issue. However, if you want to look in the calcs a bit more thoroughly, you will see certain things like Hydro Bump being able to actually plow through, not even talking about the utility that Blizzard has against, where is the Pokemon that I wanted to view? I don't remember what Pokemon I was gonna. Oh yeah, traditional answers, for example, Fungus. They are not an answer. They are not an answer. With the hail damage up, this is gonna be able to do enough to completely force it out, not KO it sadly, thanks to the side damage of hail not being enough. As well as your regular damage just not being enough. However, Carvanha, with its speed increasing ability, forces everything to go more into priority rather than anything else. So this is a really offensive, straightforward, small, limited weather condition to build around, but you really get the idea, and it has still a bit of potential to work in a bit of different ways, but you really want to keep it in the very mindset of you want to plow your way through your opponent's team, you want to create opportunities to plow through it. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next video up will be rain or sun, so right out.